You are tuned in to What a Baltimore Online Radio. Please note that the views and opinions expressed are of the host and not of Lady J Media. Thank you and enjoy the show.
I know you do. I know you do, because that's what I do. I give you that kind of love that makes you come back. I'm your pusher, baby. I'm your pusher.
Why do you like this?
Hey, little black boy, let me holler at you for a minute. But I was once in your place. You should respect what I say. Some of the things I'm about to tell you just may save your life in a world where not much is right. Little black boy, you're gonna see and experience all sorts of things, but don't let your mind be locked in the chains. All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Spitfire Poetry Shutdown. I am your host, John Hansboro. It is Wednesday, June 29th, 2022. I hope everybody's off to a wonderful summer. I know I am off to one. It's very noisy in my house, and my kids already eating up all the snacks. So today, we got my man in the house today, Mr. Dr. Leroy Jenkins. First of all, before I introduce him, this gentleman, man, wears so many different hats. I admire his work ethic, and his drive is very contagious. Ever since I've met him, I've been watching him move, and it's just very impressive. And you have influenced me to constantly keep doing what I'm doing, honestly, man. So I want to thank you for that. But without further ado, I want to introduce you guys to Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr. What's going on, Leroy? How you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing awesome. How about yourself, brother? Good to be with you this evening.
Man, I cannot complain. I cannot complain. Before we came on, I was asking, I wanted to make sure my purple and gold look real nice for him because he doesn't really care for the Lakers, unfortunately. But you know, everybody can't be with the winners, you know what I mean? But
Hey, bro, I ain't gonna lie. I was a diehard Lakers fan with my man Magic Showtime back in the '80s. But once Magic left, I kind of left with them. I was never a big Kobe and Shaq fan, but they were dominant, and everything like that. But it was nothing like Showtime, bro. Nothing like Showtime, man.
absolutely. Him and Kareem and them definitely did that thing back then,
Yeah.
man. Absolutely, man. So look, it's been a while since I had you on last. It may have been almost a year, honestly. And you got so many
It's been a
different
minute.
things. It's been a minute, right? You got so many different things going on. You know, Leroy is a poet. He's a published author. He's an entrepreneur. Tell us a little bit about yourself, man, and some of the things that you have done and that you have in your background, Leroy.
Well, I'm the president and CEO of JNF Enterprises LLC, and what we are is simply a distribution, publishing, and business consulting firm here in Baltimore, and we assist individuals and organizations in being able to bring their vision to reality. And we do that through a couple of different ways. We do that through entrepreneurship training, entrepreneurship consulting, leadership consulting, leadership training, and then, well, as you mentioned, book consulting. Do that as well, assisting aspiring authors as well as authors that are already published and out there, but are looking to gain more exposure, do more marketing, do more branding of themselves, and everything. That's just one thing that we do. We do workshops. We do seminars. I do speaking. I'm actually a speaker as well for organizations that are looking to have keynote speakers and have someone to come in to talk about leadership, to talk about, as I mentioned, training, customer service, all of those things that assist you in being able to be the best organization, to be the best entrepreneur that you're looking to be, and in addition to, like you were saying, a poet as well. That's kind of one of those hidden things that I do and that I love, that I've had a passion for ever since I was in college. Been writing poetry since I was in college, and just did it to kind of get things off of my chest and get things out of my head, all of those good things. And somebody put a bug in my ear about putting it in a book. So I had the crazy idea of, oh, this, this might work. I might be able to put it in a book. And and it started doing it. Put a couple of books together, poetry books together, and I still have a couple that I want to come out with this year, because I'm still always still writing. I'm always still writing
Right.
poetry, because there's always something to write about. It's all to me. I found the more that I wrote, the more I had to say, bruh. So
Mm, mm.
that's kind of how that's worked for me with that, because we just see so many things, and so much has been happening in around our world today, that you just never I never see things to stop writing about, because there's so much to say and so much that needs to be said. So
Absolutely. There's definitely a lot to say and a lot, so much
yeah.
that's going on around us. I was just reflecting the other day on the last, 2 to 3 years that we just had. And it's a lot.
Hmm.
One day I was on social media, and you know how you see some of your past posts from like a year or two, maybe 2, 3 years,
Hmm.
prior. And I saw some posts that I had, and I was I was supported by a few people who are not even here anymore. You know what I mean? Who have
Oh wow. Wow.
unfortunately have passed away, and it made me think. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Some of them days where I don't feel like doing this, or I don't feel like doing that. You know what I mean? Um, I think about some of the people who are not here, who had dreams and aspirations that they wish they could do. Sometimes that helps me to get off
Yeah.
my ass and stop thinking crazy like that, because of some of these people I really do miss a lot. They were big supporters, and the last like 2 or 3 years, I'm just like, wow, so many
Yeah.
people that we lost. So poetry for me always is therapeutic. So I'm writing all the time as well, constantly,
Mhm.
always writing. Um, do you? So you do have a couple of poetry books out though, right?
Correct. Yeah, I have three that are already written. One is this one here, Vibes and Sound. This is the latest. This is the latest one. Vibes and Sounds, the Poet Chronicles Volume One, and I'll be adding to this I'll be adding another volume of this. Hopefully, within the year, by the end of the year, I want to have that out. And then I have two other ones: the Inner Soul Volume One and the Inner Soul Volume Two. Those are the first two books of poetry. And it's funny, and I don't know if you do this at all. If you see your look at your old poetry when you first started writing to kind of now, what
Yeah.
what you've written
Mhm.
now, and you see the growth. You see the different things that you talked about back then versus what you kind of talk about now and everything like that. So it's always to me I look back and reflect on it and see how my writing has grown, and just like I said, the different topics and different things that I've been able to talk about more of. So yeah, yes, total right now 3 books.
Awesome, awesome. Well, we're gonna get right into it, man. Let you share something whenever you're ready.
Okay,
You can go ahead and share something. This is Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr. Guys, you want to follow him? He is also on.
okay.
You on Clubhouse still too, aren't you?
Yes, I'm on Clubhouse under Dr. Leroy McKenzie. I'm on Facebook, Dr. Leroy McKenzie, or my company, J&F Enterprises. On Instagram, it's Dr. LJ Speaks. On YouTube, definitely check out the YouTube channel. And I want you to like, subscribe, comment, all of those good things. I have some great content on there because I have a couple of podcasts that I do that get that through YouTube that I have on there as well too, and LinkedIn too for business purposes and stuff too. But you can find me in on all of those social media outlets too. So I got one for you. This will be the first one I'll do, and I think people will relate to this because of what we've been going through over these past and like you said, the last past 2 3 years 4 years, I'll say, to even go back even for a little further than that, but specifically just especially the last 2 weeks and
Right.
everything that's been that we had to go. But the title of it, and I'll give you a little background, called "The Ingredients for a Destructive Society."
Okay.
So um so this just came from me watching, looking at the, and this I wrote this way before what happened now. This was, you could take this and put it anywhere pretty much, and it'll apply to what we've gone through, what we go through, what we've been going through here as a society. So the ingredients for a destructive society. Society has no one to blame but itself for the ails that have come upon us. When you have a government that is set up to purposely misrepresent a group of people, it will. When you take an educational system that is geared towards creating an incarcerated mind, it will. When you neglect communities for years upon years and create an environment of hopelessness, it will. When those who have sworn to protect and serve us can seek, kill, and destroy us without any accountability, they will. When our self hatred has become so ingrained that we become immune to the day to day destruction of each other, it's time to look within. Our communities continue to just exist instead of live. It is to live, and there must be life breathed back into it if it's going to ever survive. The support is not there for our businesses because of the suppression that we have been subjected to. We have access to so much but use so little. We
Damn.
have gained but are so afraid to lose, but don't realize that by gaining we have lost. No longer can we sit back and do nothing because of the fear that is within us. Take a long look at the facts, and you can see these are the ingredients of a destructive society.
Wow, Leroy. Man. Okay. That
Just a little something to think about.
absolutely something to think about, man. It's a lot of truth and fact in that too. But what drove you to write that other than the last, some of the years that we have just endured, the last 2 to 3 years? Like, where else did you pull from to put that together? That was serious right
I
there.
pulled it from my, yeah, I pulled it from my experiences, what I
Right.
know, what I see, what I've gone through, and what I believe our society looks like, and especially when it comes to our communities, man.
Hmm.
I mean, in here I talk about the police. I brought up the police. We know we can go back years upon years upon years of the destructive behavior that law enforcement has imparted on us. I go back to Rodney King, but we can
Same
go
here.
back further.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So we
Yeah.
can go back even further. We can go back to the civil rights movement. We can go back even further than that. All of those things. We can go back to Black Wall Street. You know, so all of those things. That's what I drew from the history that I've learned, the things that I've been able to read, the things that I just talk about, and one specific lady, and I talk about this all the time because what she talks about, and she's passed away now. I don't know if you're familiar with her. Name is Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. Um, but she was a child psychologist. But she has a book called The ISIS Papers. But she also has done many documentaries on, and she did her, I think it was a dissertation or something like that. But it's called the Crest theory of color confrontation. But everything that you see going on right now,
Mm-hmm.
what's happened within the last 2 weeks with
Mm-hmm.
Roe versus Wade, they've been after that for 50 years, bruh.
Mm-hmm.
1972, 1973, they've been trying to get it back. It was overturned in 72, 73, or was when the case actually came about. And ever since it had been, you know, through the courts, they've been trying to overturn it. That finally happened. But what you aren't hearing them talk about when it comes to that, when it comes to the what it really means. You'll hear them saying it's about women's rights as well, but it's really not. It's
Right.
deeper than that.
Right.
It's about the, as Dr. Cress Welsing says, it's about the fear of being the Caucasians' fear of being genetically annihilated, because they're saying
Mm.
that by the year 2053,
Uh-huh.
2054, that this country will the minority, the people of color will be the majority of this country.
Mm-hmm.
So the people of non-color will be the minority,
Right.
and
Right.
they're fighting. Everything that you see going on is about them fighting tooth and nail to
Right.
keep that from happening. Now, they can't stop it from happening because it's gonna happen.
Right.
It's just too far. It's just too far happening. The population of this country and the way that it's populating, they can't stop it. But what they're doing is trying to populate more of themselves, and the way that one of the ways that they do that is to make women, specifically their women, have to have babies. That's the recipe. That one of the ingredients for a destructive society. Second thing is about power.
Right.
Everything that we talk about has to
Oh,
do.
God.
When you talk about politics, you talk about law enforcement, you talk about education. All of those things are wrapped in that, and wrapped in what I just talked about. And that's what Dr. Frances Welsing talks about. And when I learned about her, I never forget it. Me and my buddy, we were in college. He was like, "Dude, you got to go to the library." And back then, I know you young, so you don't know nothing about the VHSs, the VHS.
Do I? Man, I'm
And he was
47
like,
years old. I remember Beta, VHS. Come on, Leroy. Encyclopedias, catalogs.
so he was like, "Dude, you got to go to the library and get this VCR tape of
uh,
Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, Crest Theory of Color Confrontation." So I go get it, and it absolutely blew my mind. I'm just like, whoa. And I started looking at everything through the lens that she talks about,
mm-hmm.
because racism is a system.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I said, it's education, it's law enforcement, it's
Mm-hmm.
the law, it all of that is tied into the fear of being genetically annihilated, and them wanting to make sure to ensure that they continue, or that they have to populate themselves, and us not being, they have to have a way of being able to curtail us, because people talk about this country, black people, we only make up 13% of the population here
Right.
in this country. But and white people make up about what is it, 60 something percent, I think it is.
Mm-hmm.
But globally, people of color make up 9/10 of the population.
Mm-hmm.
That's the world.
Mm-hmm.
9/10 of people of color. So if I only make up 1/10 of the population, how am I going to survive? I
Right.
have to have a system in place in order to be able to survive. And she talks about that. She wrapped that thing in a package, and her book, The Crest Theory of Color Confrontation, she talks about all of that. She breaks down about the game of basketball. She talks about sports, but she breaks up the, and I'll give you this real quick, and then but she talks about the games that we play, the games,
Right.
and she talks about it in the realm of genetically annihilation. She said, when you think about the games that we play that have balls of color, right?
Mm-hmm.
Basketball, football, I think the soccer ball. These are all big balls,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and you carry, for the most part, you carry them. But with football, she talked about the brown ball being kicked through the upright
Mm-hmm.
white legs.
Right.
The game, she talks about basketball, bowling, all of these, all of the games that have color, have balls of color.
Mm-hmm.
What do we see as black men as being what, very well endowed.
Mm-hmm.
So she talks about that. But she talked about, think of the games that have smaller balls, golf,
Right.
ping pong,
Right.
and and what you're doing, you aren't carrying those, you're hitting each of those.
Mm-hmm.
So she breaks this whole thing, the game of pool.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if you've ever heard this, but remember, they used to think that the world was flat.
Right.
So, and the pool table is usually what? Green, right?
Right.
Now, how do you win the game of pool?
By hitting
By
all the
putting
balls in, and
what?
then the black ball last.
The black ball is last. And when you are under the ground, you're considered what?
Black ball
You're considered dead, right?
dead.
Right. No, you're considered dead. But
Right.
the ball that knocks all of the other balls in is what?
Right. Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when she started breaking down the games that we play, I'm like, hold up, wait a minute, wait. She was like, and you just thought it was about a game. She
Right.
said, no. It blew my mind. She talks about so much more stuff that relates to, what we see as a society. So I have, ever since then, I've always looked at things that go on through that lens and says, okay, it's deeper than
Mm-hmm.
just what we see.
Mm-hmm.
So it just blew my mind, man, with that. So reading books like that, listening to people like her, um, listening to just different people that I think that show us so much, whether it's in business, whether it's in government, because I've read books from those that are in government, and having a clear understanding. That's where that comes from. That's where this poem came from. Was seeing all of that and understanding all of that, man.
Wow. That's deep, man. That's definitely deep. Do you
Yeah.
think that? Do you you know is? Do you think that people who like this lady who come up and figure out this information, you think some of them are afraid to share the information like she did, and fears of being harmed, or whatever the case may be?
Yeah, I think that they were. But you had individuals such as her, and she just passed away maybe 6 years ago or so.
Uh-huh.
But she was right over in DC, but she was an elder, so she had been talking about this for years,
Right. Right.
years, man. And I don't know, they she was kind of under the radar. She kind of
Mm-hmm.
went under the radar, I guess, because she wasn't somebody like a Malcolm X. She
Mm-hmm.
wasn't somebody like a Fred Hampton,
Right.
that had that
Right.
national kind of pull on people, and that's, or Dr. King. So they were unashamedly, they knew that their purpose was bigger than themselves, you know, and they posed more of a threat than she did, you know, that type of thing. So yeah, you have some folks that were and still are afraid to speak, because they know that they're afraid of what it will cost them. They're not
Right.
willing to pay that cost.
Absolutely.
Dr.
You
King
said
was willing to pay that cost.
right. You said a line too in that poem about something along the lines of having all the information and not knowing how to use it or something like that. Um, and with today, with information being so easy to get to for the youngsters and the
Mhm.
millennials, you know what I mean? We were just sitting here joking about it, but I tell my girls, I got two daughters, I tell my girls all the time, um, y'all have, they come and they ask me questions sometimes, and I'm like, why don't you type that or say that into one of these numerous tablets that me and your mother got y'all, and so you can get the information that way too. Like, what are you using it for? You know what I mean? And I'm talking to them about encyclopedias and how we had to look up stuff at the library and this, that, and the other, and they looking at me like I got three heads on my shoulders. But when you said that line or something that you said along that made me reflect on that, like, so much information is right there. Like, it's really no excuse these days, really. You know what I mean? We really should try. I love information. I love to learn something that I did not know every day. If I want to learn something every single day, I don't care if it's how small it is or whatever, but I would like to know something today that I didn't know yesterday. You know what I mean? And with, like I said, with technology and how it is today, it's so much easier to do so many different things because it's right there at their fingertips. Is that what you were getting along? Is that what you were speaking about?
Yeah, it actually, and the line is, we have access to so much but use so little.
You so
And
little,
it's
right?
exactly what you were saying. Yeah. And we think about our parents and our grandparents. They didn't have the access that we had, because we came along and we were probably the first generation that,
Absolutely.
and we were kind of, we had the benefit of both, because
Mm-hmm.
we didn't have technology, but then we've grown with
Mm-hmm.
technology. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Right.
So
Yeah.
our parents, and think about it, our parents and grandparents didn't have access to internet, didn't have a whole lot of money, didn't have a whole lot of this to be able to do that. But what did they do? They always made a way. They always did things. They always found a way to get stuff done. I mean, think about the civil rights. Think about if the civil rights movement had the technology that we have today. They did everything that they did
Right.
without
Right.
without social media.
Organizing, busting. Right. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely. Yep.
all of that stuff, man.
Yep.
Theirs had to be done basically through what, telephone calls. You know, that was pretty much it. And you had landlines with that. So now
Mm-hmm.
we travel everywhere with our phone, and like you said, with the phone, we have access to all kinds of information. But I think what has happened, to be honest with you, I think technology has made the that generation, that next generation, the generation, like you said, your daughters, and those, I call them I think they're millennials. I think those are the millennials.
Mm-hmm.
But it has made them very entitled.
Mm-hmm.
It has made them Technology has made us lazy as
Yeah.
a whole,
Absolutely. Yes.
because like you said, we had to go to the library, we
Right.
had to look in the encyclopedia for the information. Now all we got to do is go to our phone, put in whatever we want to put in Google, or
Right.
go to YouTube. you
Right.
need, you need to learn how to
Right.
do something, man. You can
Right.
you can you
Anything.
ain't even got to go high. Yeah, if you have any kind of, I'm not a handyman, but
Right.
if you have any kind of sense or whatever, you can
Mm-hmm.
you can fix your own car, you
Yep.
can do your own plumbing. I wouldn't advise you doing the electrical work, but you know what I'm saying. but but we have access to so much more nowadays than what we did when we were growing up, and then even when our parents were young, when our parents were growing up, and then when our grandparents.
Right.
So it's technology has been a double-edged sword to us. It's been a benefit, but it's also been a hindrance to us too. Because it's I was talking about that the other day with my mother, um, and it was like, what? How many phone numbers do you know by heart right now?
Exactly.
If
Right.
you had to call somebody and didn't have your phone,
Yeah.
who would you be able to call from memory?
Right.
I
Right.
got maybe one, maybe
Right.
two.
I got two at the most. That's it.
but
Three actually.
right,
That's it.
but yeah, but remember back in the day, we could roll off
Right.
at least five phone numbers that we knew by heart, that we absolutely knew by heart, and we could roll them off easily. And
Right.
they were usually, close family members or friends, but we knew them. But now, well, we don't know nobody's phone number. We lose our phone, we lose our minds.
Right. And now you can
You
reach them
know,
on social
so
media in so many other different ways now.
right,
Like
ways,
people don't even give out their phone numbers. They may just give you their social media information and
right,
leave it at that,
right,
you
yeah,
know, and
yep.
leave it at that. So,
But think about it. That's what kids do these days. Even the dynamic of relationships. Let me hit you up on I can give you, like you said, I'll give you my Instagram. Hit me up on you can DM me there.
right,
What?
right,
You know,
right.
so it has been a benefit, but it's also been a detriment to who we
I,
are and what we seem to do.
the one part that I don't like about it, Leroy, the detriment part of it to me is so much of the influence that it can put on
Yeah,
people, especially when
yeah,
it's the wrong type of
yeah,
influence. That's my thing I don't like. It's
yeah,
always, I don't like to see all of the fighting on there, all of the craziness constantly. You know what I mean? Show something that's more positive. Let our kids see something more positive instead of so much negativity and things of that nature. But other than that, I don't even really like social media. I use it for my brand and I get on there for that. I don't really like to be on there that much because just,
yeah,
for the same thing we talked about, I don't like to see some of the content that I think is ridiculous. Some of it is entertaining. Yeah, don't get me
yeah.
wrong, but some of the stuff that I think is
Right.
just too much, I'm just like, I can't even deal with it. So look,
Yeah.
man, let's get into some more
And
poems. I
that's the
know you
thing.
got. Go ahead.
No, no, I was just saying you're so right. And real quick, it's the thing that Malcolm X said. The media is the most powerful tool that we have.
Right.
It really is. The influence that it has is powerful, brother. It's powerful.
Absolutely, it is. Absolutely, it is. And to be able to have it so quickly, though, to go across. Now, see,
Yeah,
that's one plus I like about it because unfortunately, whenever something goes down that we all have to band together on, when we should be banding together all the time, somebody's got to
right.
lose a life or something like that for all of us to want to come together now and band together. But you can spread the word so much easily now on these platforms. I do like that. But as
Yeah,
long as it's positive, I'm sick of all the negative stuff sometimes. But Leroy,
yeah,
whenever you're ready, man,
yeah.
let's share something else. I know you got some more stuff. I know you got a whole vault of poetry. I know you do.
um, I'm gonna do this one, and this one I'll do it because it's us. This one's for the fellas, and I also have a this is actually a title of one of my books that I've written, "The Power of a Man," and I wrote this poem for that particular book to go in at the beginning of the book. But it's the power of a man. Um, my strength is not defined by my prowess or by my physical stature. I'm powerful beyond intellect, and how many letters are behind my name. I personify what it is to be a man because I understand what it takes to be a man. The gifts I give, the material possessions do nothing to define who I am because all that matters to me is that I make a difference in this world before I leave it. My perspective keeps me in check because I know who I am and don't allow others to define me. My pleasure and happiness is deeply rooted in my faith, family, and my community. Keeping and preserving our legacy is my lasting purpose. I am more than a co parent and seek to love uninhibitedly. My soul searches for the one who compliments me and stands with me. I am here to cover you and not be over you. My spirit is uncompromising when it comes to knowing where I am headed. The peace I have is the peace I seek to give. Believing in me is all I know how to do. I will be united. I will rise to my responsibility and be who I am called to be because that is the
Mm.
power of a man.
I love it, bro. That's what I'm talking about right there. Power of man. That's what I'm talking about. For real, man. I need you. Once you put that out, I need that laminated because I want to put that on my. I want to put that on my wall in my office somewhere because those
Okay.
words that is man. Seriously, man. No, that is man to me. That we are so many different things, and
Yeah.
a lot of times we can't touch all of the different sides that we are, and so well, a
Yeah.
lot of us can once we start having children or things of that nature, whatever. But um to being able to touch like sensitive side of yourself and all these different dynamics that make you who you are as a man, a
Yeah.
provider, a nurturer,
Yeah.
things of that nature. So I love it. That I like it, man. I love that. I really do. I like it. I like it a lot. That was deep right there. What
Yeah.
influenced that?
And we do so much. Yeah, well, we do so much, and where that came from, the power of a man. I mean, the book. There's so much because the title, the full title of the book is "The Power of a Man: Faith, Family, Finance, and Future." And what it is there's so much stuff out here for women that pours into women. You can find boatloads of stuff that pour into women. I
Mhm.
mean, it's just I mean you could have a woman's conference. They coming in droves.
Absolutely.
you know
Right.
they gonna be there. They gonna show up. But
Yeah.
it's such a difficult task to get us as men to move
Right.
and to be a part of something, and we need to be poured into. You and I know we need to be pouring in to the next generation of men that are
Mhm.
coming up,
Mhm.
so that they understand what manhood is,
Right.
because so many of us, and like you were talking about the influence of social media. If you listen, and I know you said you're not on much, and I am somewhat, but listening to the conversations that these channels have, and you gotta, like you said, you gotta back away from it. You gotta be like, you know what, I can't today.
Right.
But listening to the conversations to that generation, that millennial generation, are
Mhm.
having, and it's some of it is the same conversation that we had, with our
Right.
boys, or when it came to relationships and all of those things. I said, but theirs is just, I'm like, wow, we have
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
done a disservice to them.
Mhm.
And the miseducation, I call it the miseducation of manhood, the miseducation of womanhood, and just
Mhm.
how so much has been mistaught, how so much that needs to be unlearned and retaught.
Right.
And we're going down, I see, we're going down this slippery slope if we allow that next generation to begin to teach the next generation behind them, which are their kids, and
Right.
to miseducate them.
How
And
how
and
how
that
do
gap
we
is
how do we
getting.
combat that though, Leroy? How do you think we can combat that? Because I agree with you 100%. How can we? What are the things? Some of the things that we can do, as individuals, actually, all of us, to help implement that in our community.
Well, to me, it's always been about we've got to talk about it. We've got to you have to have something that combats the negative energy that's out there, that gets put out there. So you have to have something. You have to keep pound. I call it pounding the rock. You've got to keep putting the positive stuff out there, and you
Right.
got to keep talking about it. That's one aspect of social media that we have to take advantage of. Bringing that pot, okay, y'all can go watch all of the negative stuff, but here we're gonna give you an alternative to it, because we talk about our communities and young men, doing and coming up, and it being so bad for them, but we've got to give them something to say yes to. We've got to
Mhm.
give them something that's positive to see,
Yes.
So the more involved that we get with them, the more involved that we talk, the more we talk to them. And you and I know we had some men, and I'm sure you did. You had men that talked to you that
Hmm.
were influencers in your life, you know,
Absolutely.
and it was just right there within the neighborhood. But now we have technology which gives us the
Right.
power to be able to not only just affect the young men that are right there in front of us or right there in our communities, but on a larger scale. Because if we're putting it out in a platform that we can reach not only from New York all the way over to California, but over into Africa, over into the diaspora, down into the islands, up into Canada, all of these areas that we can now combat all of the negative stuff that we see out there. We've got to be as vigilant as they are in putting out the negative stuff. We've got to be just as vigilant in putting out the positive stuff so that people can see it. And we've got to talk about it.
Right.
We've got to talk about it. We've got to share it. We've got to,
Mhm.
let people know, hey, the positive thing, because it used to be so funny because my best friend, she's always telling me, you need to watch the news. You need to watch it. I said, no, I don't. I said, I can tell you the first five stories that are going to be on any local news. I
Mhm.
said, somebody getting shot,
Yep.
somebody getting killed, a fire, whatever it is. Those are the first five stories. Then they throw in sports and they throw in the weather. That's
Yep.
your news.
Yep.
And they may have one positive story
Hmm.
for that hour or whatever time frame that they're in. You may get one positive story. That should be the opposite. But
Absolutely.
how do you combat? How do you combat? You combat that by and that's why I'm adamant about any positive things that I see that we've done as Black people, that we see that is going on, that shows us in a positive light. I try to put it on my page. I try to share it out to other folks so that people can see it. Oh wow, that's going on. This is going on.
Right.
And it's not always about the negative things that we see. So to me, that's a strategy for how you combat it.
Absolutely, and that's I think it's a good one because what we see forms a lot of how we react and how we do things. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
believe that just as simple as the game of excuse me, the game of chess, right?
Yes.
For our young people to learn how to play chess, um,
Yep.
is so important because without them even realizing it, it's teaching them to think, it's teaching them to you know come up with different situations and weigh the options that could happen in the end. I believe too.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, well, if I do this, this is going to happen. I'm not going to just be able to walk away from this because if I do this, then two maybe five different things can happen. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? So I really believe that that's something that a lot of our young people need to play. But we got Fortnite and all of this other stuff
I
that's
know,
that's
right?
at their fingertips. You know what I mean? They're not thinking about nothing like that, really.
Yeah.
Um,
But
Go
it's
ahead,
true.
Leroy.
I mean, no,
Mhm.
but it's so true because the game of chess, it's a thinking's man game. Because like you were saying, it's not about the move that you're making. It's
Right,
about the move before the move before the move,
right,
and
right,
and the move after the move after the move. Like you were saying, because I'm not just thinking about that move. I'm thinking five moves ahead.
right.
I love for anyone that's watching. I love the movie Searching for Bobby Fischer.
Yeah.
It is. I love that. That is one of my favorite movies. But it's
Hmm.
about a young boy that's becoming a chess master. But it's
Hmm.
about him thinking and seeing, seeing before he sees it. And
Hmm.
like you were just saying, we got to see it before we see it.
Right,
And
right,
we understand that. And everything that we're talking about that's going on today, it's a chess game.
right.
It's
That's
it's
right.
chess.
That's
It
right.
is really chess. It's about, okay, if I do this, they're gonna do that. Even us as a country, it's about, if we do this, what are they gonna do? And it's about even us within the country.
Right.
Okay, you made this move with
Hmm.
what just happened the last week or two.
Hmm.
Now, okay, You made that move. Here's what we're gonna do.
Right. Right.
And they had to have seen it to understand that once they do, because it was coming.
Mm-hmm.
This ain't just happened.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to understand, okay, now that you've made that move, now we've got to be responsible for making our move. What
Right.
comes after that?
Right.
So,
Right. Right.
you know,
Right. Thinking man's game. That's
yeah.
exactly right. Leroy, before we get out of here, do you got anything quick you can share for us? And then tell everybody how they can follow you.
Sure. I don't know how much the ladies are going like this one,
Uh-oh.
but I ain't trying to get you in no trouble, bro. You know what I'm saying? But but um, the title of this one is I love my black woman,
All right.
but does my black woman love me?
Mm,
So
let's go. Let's go.
um, okay. You are the center of my joy. You know just what I need and when I need it simultaneously.
Mm,
I
mm,
shower you with love, but you still seem disinterested.
mm,
My best seems as if it's not enough. No matter what I do, it seems I can't compete. I try and I try and I try to give you what you need and want. Your pleasure is all that matters to me.
mm,
Treat you like Valentine is what I always say. But I get in return, but what I get in return makes me feel sullen, gloomy, and gray.
ooh,
I understand that there has been hurt, disappointment, and lies on my side. But what does that mean that you hold on to that for a lifetime?
mm,
The bitterness and resentment can't go on. We spend too much time talking at each other instead of talking to each other.
mm,
When I speak to you, it does not always mean that I want to get at you.
mm,
Sometimes I just want to put a smile on your face.
mm,
Your drama may have been created by others who have passed through your life, but that does not mean that I am going to add to it.
mm,
All I want to do is bring you peace, love, and joy like you have never felt before. Our culture has gotten away with uplifting you to your to your rightful place. We as your male counterpart must remember that love, respect, and the honor is what we need to give to you.
mm,
Once we give it to you, there's still one question that I hope does not remain, and that is I love my black woman, but does my black woman love me?
mm. Ah, I love it, bro. I love it. I love it. I love it. Yeah, you left us with a oh man at the end. Okay. Ladies, you can follow Leroy McKenzie Jr. everywhere but home. And do not
I like that one, bro.
hey, oh man, I love it, man. That was dope though, Deliver. I like it, man. I love it. I love it. I've always been a fan of your poetry, man. You're so different. You know, that's one thing I love about this thing. Everybody's got their own lane and their own, you know what I mean? I love it. I really do. I love it, man. Bro, how can we follow you, man, and keep up with you? Because you always got one thing about this brother, y'all. He's always got a plethora of information all the time. I'm telling you, you definitely want to follow this guy. How can we follow you and keep up with you, Leroy?
Well, really easy. I'll give you. It's the HTTP colon / link tree, and it's linktr.ee /JNF Enterprises, and that'll have all of my other platforms, other my website, the social, all of my other social media outlets that they can go to from that and everything. So that's probably the easiest way, easiest thing to be able to reach
Absolutely.
on all the platforms there.
Absolutely. I love it, Leroy. Leroy, give us some advice. What would you say to that young entrepreneur out there, man, who's trying to do something to stay out the streets and he wants to start a business but he doesn't know where to start at?
Mm. Where I would tell them to start at is you start with understanding what your what problem do you want to solve?
Mm,
What problem do you want to solve? And once you figure out what problem you want to solve, then you want to start to work at how you become that answer. Doing the research on the industry that you're in, doing the research on where your target market is, your ideal clients are, where your ideal client is, and how to be able to reach them, how to be able to connect with them. It's important that we not just reach them, but it's about connecting with them so that you build your name, your brand, and your company. So I think if you have the foundation, understanding what problem you solve, and then where your target market is, where your ideal clients are, and then figuring out how to reach them, I think you'll be successful. You not only start your business, but you'll be able to keep your business going even through a pandemic.
Absolutely, guys. You heard it here first. Follow Dr. Leroy McKenzie Jr. I appreciate you, bro, for coming on. Like I always say to everybody, if we want to stay blessed, we have to bless other people. Leroy, I appreciate you, bro. Be safe out here. Keep doing what you're doing, bro. You are a hell of an influence, man, and I appreciate you for all that you do, bro.
Appreciate you back, man. Thanks for having me again.
Absolutely. Be safe out here. I'll see you next time.
All right, you too.
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to What Up Baltimore online radio.